We are delighted to have two very prominent department heads with us tonight. Just a very brief background. We started the Know Your City program 2 years ago in an effort to educate the community about the inner workings of government and the community. So we have had just about every department head, including the mayor. We have had the president of Lawrence General. We've had bankers. We've had housing advocates. And it's been a really good program. We continue to get a lot of folks that attend. So thank you all for coming. To get started, we have Brian Moriarty, which is the chief of the fire department, and he's going to come up and say a few words about his position here with the city. Brian?
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Good evening.
Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself because I did this once before. Do I have to stand in front of that, or can everybody hear it? I can move around? I did this once before, and it was kind of like, well, tell people who you are. So I started off with a PowerPoint of, like, who is this guy? Because people don't really know me unless they have anything to do with a fire. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background, and then I've got a video that one of my captains, who's kind of IT savvy, made up for me to tell people about the Lawrence Fire Department, what we do, where we are, things that we're involved in. It's only about 13 minutes, but it's kind of entertaining. I find it very entertaining myself. I've enjoyed it. I've watched it a couple of times. So I find it a very knowledgeable thing. We just had it converted today so that people who only speak Spanish, they can listen to a Spanish version later in the future. But tonight we'll listen to English, and we have some translators here. So my name is Brian Moriarty. I've been the fire chief here since 2015, which is my 9th year as the fire chief. But I've been in the city since 1987 working. I've been working here for 37 years. I started as a paramedic working for Lawrence General Hospital, while at the same time I was a firefighter coming up through the ranks in Haverhill. My father was born in this city, but he was an Irish young lad who had my grandfather was rather risque and an alcoholic, and he had 21 kids. So my father got taken away from his family with some of his siblings at a very young age, became a ward of the state in Haverhill, and that's how I ended up in Haverhill and was raised there. But when I first started here, I said, it's kind of funny because my father was a firefighter, so I came here as the fire chief where he was born. I said we kind of went full circle. So I did a stint in the military out of high school, then I went to paramedic school and then got hired in the fire department. Did 28 years in Haverhill and then came here in 2015 as the chief. As you all know, we've been through some pretty crazy things here. In the 80s and 90s, it was a very big arson ring in the city. It was the arson capital of the country for a while. Then since I took over and here, we've had some pretty big events. Everybody remembers Columbia Gas in 2018. We got through that. Now we've had COVID. Now we're trying to just live and get back to normal and try to see what normal is. So as you can see, we do a lot. We're involved in everything that you can think of that happens in the city of Lawrence. And the fire department is part of that in every community, but we're very much involved in it in this. Some of the things that you've seen in that changes that we in the fire department have done together, we've worked together. When I came here, we had 2 closed fire stations. You see now that they're all open. We opened those by moving around some of the people, changing the apparatus they are on. So now every firehouse in the city of Lawrence is open. What does that mean to you? Well, if you live up on top of Tower Hill or Prospect Hill and it's snowing out and winter's tough and now your baby's not breathing or you're having a heart attack or your house is on fire, that fire truck is that much closer to your house, especially when it's snow on the ground. We're already on top of the hill or in South Broadway. The 2 that were closed were Ames Street and Bailey Street, but they're now open, fully staffed, so their response time is that much faster. We've also replaced all of our apparatus. The last apparatus to be replaced, and when I say being replaced, is they were old and tired. We didn't have an infrastructure, a capital improvement plan. So I've slowly been changing all the trucks. Being the last one out of the 7 that are in service is due here in March. It'll be a Quint for South Broadway. So not only is a Quint is not only a ladder truck, but it carries water and a pump so that the guys, if they show up first, can attack the fire rather than go to be the ventilation and search crews if they have to. So we've done a lot in the fire department. We've worked together. This year, I'm proud to say that 2023 is the lowest number of fires we've had in the city of Lawrence in anybody's memory. We only had 26 working fires. Now, you say that's a lot of fires, one every other week. It is a lot of fires, but not all of them were bad. But if you saw in the videos in the 90s, one of the newspaper clippings, 108th arson fire of the year, and that wasn't even the end of the year. So we've really done a lot, and that's because our fire prevention people are out teaching, educating, inspecting. We work a lot with the police department on investigation. We work a lot with building and health to try to make buildings safe. We now have a ordinance in place that is, if you want to have build in a factory and you're going to have a sprinkler or a fire alarm system put in, you have to send it out to a third-party engineered review, because a stamped engineer licensed will review your plan before it comes to us, because we're firefighters. We got a lot of smart guys, but we're not all fire protection engineers. These people are fire protection engineers that'll review it, make sure it's up to snuff with the law, then submit it back to that company. Then what we do when they're building is just make sure they're doing it right. They're following the plan that was approved. So what do we have to come in the future? One, I mentioned it, we have a Quint coming for South Broadway. That'll be the last truck that we need to replace. Then we'll start again in a much slower process probably. But we need to start right away, because a build up for a pump right now with COVID and the lack of people wanting to work and parts that it's a 5-year wait. If I ordered a truck today, 5 years before we get it. So we really need to get on the bandwagon and start ordering trucks now in a process, because the first one won't be here for 5 more years. We also have been working with Juan here from the superintendent of the schools. I'm hoping very near future to have a fire officer in the schools, just like we have police officers for what do you call them? What do you call it?
SROs.
SROs, school safety officers. Well, we're going to have a fire officer there, I hope, if the mayor would approve it. It's one of the first in the state, a firefighter dedicated to the schools to help keep our kids safe. Why? Well, we have a problem with kids who like to play with matches. We have a problem with fire alarm systems that aren't getting fixed as fast and quick as we'd like to. We have to do a fire drill in every school 4 times, every quarter. Every school has to do a fire drill. There are lots of education. Plus, if they get to know a firefighter and understand that we're not, weird people that you can't talk to, maybe they'll help somebody in a hard time someday. We're medically trained. We do a lot of things. So I'm really hoping that this is our foot in the door to help make our schools safer for all our kids, which means better life for all of us. So we're always trying to keep things going, move forward. I don't want to take up everybody's time. I had my little half hour, but if you got any questions real quick before we move on, I'll do.
We should wait until the
all right.
end, then we can
Okay, then we'll wait till the end. Thank you.
I think that was one of the most informative 13 minutes I've ever spent watching TV. Before we introduce the chief of police, there are a couple of people in the crowd. I wanted to recognize Dahlia Diaz with Roomba is here with us. And we also have Juan Rodriguez, the superintendent of schools. So thank you both for coming. As I said, that was the most informative 13 minutes I think I've ever spent watching TV, and so...
Are you George?
I am. I'm George Ramirez, yes, we've...
Finally.
Oh, pleasure to meet you. Okay.
It's been months that we've been trying to get together.
I would like to ask now William to come up and say a few words. The acting... William Castro's the acting police chief. Come on up and say hello and introduce yourself to the community. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. My name is William Castro, C-A-S-T-R-O. No relationship to Fidel Castro, by the way. Thank God. I'm a Lawrence guy. I grew up in Lawrence. I attended Lawrence High School, Springfield College, the School of Human Services, bachelor's degree in criminal justice and minors in criminal justice, major in human services. I've been in law enforcement for over 20 years. I spent a lot of my time working with different task forces. I was the first Latino supervisor on my department, the Essex County Sheriff's Department. I spent 18 years working with the federal government. assigned to various task assignments within the federal government, one which was with the DEA, and I spent 11 years doing a lot of undercover work throughout the cities, and mainly Lawrence, Lowell, Methuen, Haverhill, and Pasadena, Merrimack Valley. Now, this year, I was assigned to the mayor's office. I was the mayor's chief of staff. I was there for 6 months, and now a position became available to the Lawrence Police Department as the acting chief, and we decide to put a chief of police on the department that can run the department. If I'm going too fast, let me know. Okay, and I don't have a fancy PowerPoint presentation and a video. Was the chief? You left? Okay, chief, good job. Good job on the PowerPoint. I do a lot of training for different local police departments, so I'm pretty good standing out here and talking to you about it. So I'll talk to you a little bit about the Lawrence Police Department. Those of you that don't know, 90 Lowell Street, that's the location on the Lawrence Police Department. Lawrence Police Department has, as a personnel, counting myself, 157 employees right now. It's supposed to be 166, but right now we have 157, counting myself. The structure, we have a ranking structure of 5 captains, 10 lieutenants, 17 sergeants, and 124 sworn police officers. We have 45 of those are veterans. We have Jay in the background, Lieutenant Sorolla in the background here, who is in charge of some of our units. He has the CPOP, which is comprised of community policing, which in my career as law enforcement, I think is the most important assignment there is on the police department, and that's where we're here. In case you have to ask a lot of questions, that's your guy right there. He's in charge. He has a lot of tasks. He's in charge of the bike patrols, motorcycles, funerals, community events, any community events. That unit before had 18 officers on that unit. Right now we have about four. So the unit has decreased. Why? Because we have a lot of officers that have retired. We have a lot of officers on different assignments, and unfortunately, due to our the paying, the wages that we have on our department, we have a lot of officers that have left and have moved on to another department. And I'll leave that at that, okay? Little touchy subject, but I'll leave it at that. We have 3 shifts. We have first shift, which is 1 to 9 a.m., 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. Our police department, and I call our police department because we all included on this department, we last year responded to 60,999 calls for service. So remember that number. Over 60,000 calls for service. That means everyone somewhere dial 911 and call our department. 60,000. Now remember the number I gave you at the beginning, that we have 124 officers for 16,000 calls for service. So that department is busy. It is very, very busy. And I am very proud of that department because everyone in that department responds to every single call with the utmost respect and professionalism. And I say that and I mean it. They attend every single call, medical, they assist the fire department, EMS, and they do everything there is to do to bring safety into the city. There goes the phone. Don't answer it. like we said, we had a busy city. Our department has a budget of about a little over $16 million, and we have we also get grants on our department that sustain the overspill of the low wages and the overtime that we have to sustain in it. We have 18 grants. It could be public safety grant, it could be community policing grant, and those grants help sustain the budget in that department. We have 18 grants, and it's about $4 million within the grants. So you do the math. Counting from 2017, we had 11 homicides in the city. 2018, we have 5, 19, 4, 20, we have 5, 21, we have 5, 22, 4, and in 2026, we had a little increase and we have 6. This year alone, we have one homicide. Unfortunately, that we had those, and through the actions and the good work on our departments, the 2 last homicides that we had in this department, since I've been there for 90 days, we sealed those within 24 hours, which is very important. Very important to bring peace to the family and the care that we need. Like I say, we don't have a lot. We do a lot with so little, but we are working. When I came to the department, who here knows what a sector is? Anybody? Do you know what Sector 1 is, Sector 2, Sector 3? That's police talk to us, and we respect that. When I came here, I want to bring, remember what I told you, the community policing side? The police, I want to bring the whole department to the community, engagement, and make sure that the assistance is being provided to where it's needed. I don't want to go to a public hearing, a public meeting, to a neighborhood and keep listening to we have motor vehicles on our street driving, and you guys are not doing anything. We are doing, but what happens is when we talk the language that someone else doesn't understand, that's when we have a problem. So since I've been in the department, what I did, we changed a little bit of communication, how we do it. So I changed it from sectors to districts, because everybody knows where they're supposed to vote. Everybody knows their district. So thanks to that, this is what we've been doing, and we've been putting this in social media. So what we do is I'll pass this around. You can see it. This is for September. We send this out every week, and the Monday of every week. Here you're gonna see it has by district how many motor vehicle stops we did on your district, and how many arrests we did on your districts, and what is the actions that we are doing, what is the work that we are doing on your district. That way, our officers show that they are working. Because I can tell anybody here that we have 60,000 calls for service, but 60,000 calls for service that were not in District A. They were not all in District B or C. They were in different districts. So I want to be able to show that we are working. We are working. And that's that. What I'm here to tell you is that I'm here temp. I'm acting, but I'm here to give you a service, the utmost respect and service to you, the city of Lawrence deserves. And I'm out there every single day. I'm not a person that stays behind the door, sit down on the office. I get up, hit the street every morning before I go to my office. I go around the city. I like to see what's going on. And we have a lot of plans. We have a lot of things that we do on our department. We have different units that respond to different things on our department. So I know you guys are gonna ask me, ladies, you're gonna ask me about a homeless, what are we doing with the homeless? What are we doing with the loud music? What are we doing with the motorcycles? And I'm here to tell you that we're creating a plan. And our plan has to be engagement. We have to teach our community that the practices that we have when we come here from another country, they're not allowed here. Motorcycle, loud music, parties, blocking sidewalks, double parking, crossing the street, you're not on the crossing walk. That's what we're here to do this summer. I think the communication needs to go out there, and it needs to be clear that we're here to do a job, and you have to assist us on doing that job. Meaning, if we educate you on what you're supposed to do, just do it. It makes our job, it makes our lives a lot easier. So I think that community engagement that comes along with Jay being out there is gonna be heavy. When I came here at the beginning, they were saying I was heading on the homeless population. I'm telling you what, I'm not here to head on anybody. I'm here to do a job. But when I have complaints, I'll give you an example on Washington Street. When I came in, everybody was leaving the cars open because they couldn't lock them because they keep breaking into them. So let's leave them open. So when I came in here, let's take care of this problem. And they arrested 17 people in 1 week. 4 of them were breaking into cars. We stopped the problem. Then it comes the critics that I was arresting homeless. No, I'm not arresting homeless. I'm arresting criminals. We're arresting criminals. If they're breaking into the cars, I'm going to arrest them. And that's what we did. And thanks to that, we've been very successful. I'll pass this along. Like I was saying, we created a unit. Well, we didn't create it. It was there. We just changed the name. We have Lieutenant Fleming that's going to be working on this unit. Is just bringing assistance to a homeless population. We have a lot of grants out there that we're going to be utilizing for this. One is called the HIPS grant. We have another one that's the opioid grant. And we're going to use up some of this money dedicated and work with us. Okay? I'm going to pass this around. These are the stats of what we've been doing for the past year. And it has a lot of good substance in there of where we're coming from. And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you very much. Chief Moriarty, would you come up and we can maybe take some questions from the audience? I do want to say that I understand that there'll be a vote coming from the city council on the chief's appointment, and as everyone knows, it requires a majority vote. So we wish you well, and the city will do well under your leadership.
Thank you, sir.
So I'm going to stand aside, and if anybody has questions for the chief of police or the fire chief, please, questions?
Who wants? I'll go. You want to go first? I'll stay over here, so anybody who has any questions, I mean, like I said, I don't have all the answers.
I have a question.
But I will look into them.
Do you have any after-school programs for the kids?
Yeah,
The summer program?
Yeah, we got a lot of after-school programs. We got the basketball. Come here, don't be shy. And this is part of what we, our sergeants, lieutenants, captains, they do a tremendous job out there. And some people say, you know, the chief of police this, the chief of police that, and I don't do that by myself, okay? And I cannot do it without the assistance of the professionals on the field. And they are professionals in the field. Jay's been with the department a very long time, and he's been managing this unit. He's been doing an outstanding job on those units. And thanks to that, you know, he's behind doors, but his leadership on delegating some of this material and having people, it's not easy to pick a person to work on community policing if you don't have those community engagement skills. If you don't know how to talk to that person. You know, you might don't know the language, but you have to treat everyone with the utmost respect. Me, luckily, I speak the 2 languages, which he's almost there. But thanks to Jay, we have that.
Yes, sir. First off, thank you for having me tonight, Lieutenant Cirillo, Lawrence Police Department. We have several programs. We're very active with Swain Youth basketball in the city, but SROs have a open gym where they're involved with the students of the Lawrence Public Schools, and then we also have a program called the Smart Cadet Program, where we are in the schools with Lawrence students through the Learning Center, and that's a 10-week program where we cover a lot of different topics from anti-bullying to internet safety. We have the fire department comes in sometimes and teaches water safety. So again, it's a program that involves 5th and 6th graders, but I know the SROs have programs that kind of cover different areas of the school. So to answer your question, yes, we are very involved with the students in the city and the youth of the city.
Great, thank you very much. Questions? Yeah.
Yes, I have one question. It's about the homeless. I know the police can do much about taking the homeless from the street, but the city have too many programs who help the homeless, and that's a good alternative to bring it from the other city. For example, Wednesday, here at the bus station, we have one activity in there where a lot of homeless people come in and stay there every Wednesday. Then we have a bunch of institutions, organization who give a food, we have a bedroom clinic.
Mm-hmm.
It's something, do you think it's something that city have to start cutting to don't give a good attraction to the homeless people to come to the city?
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't go into another city
Mm-hmm.
because they don't have those facilities in those cities, but we have it. For that reason we are here. And we have a problem, especially in the street. Sometimes you drive it and you have to stop for a long time because they are in the middle of the street and you can do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes that's a big hazard, big problem, because you touch one of those people or whatever in the street, then you have a big problem. But what the city doing, what the police doing about those homeless who stay in the street, blocking traffic sometimes and asking for money and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have some problem to fix that.
Thank you for the question. We all know that, homelessness is a very complex issue. We all know that we all can become homeless in any given minute. We all know that. And it's all type of homelessness. We can get someone homeless because the house got on fire. We can get homelessness just by mere substance abuse, mental health issues. So what are we doing on that sense? So we have started conducting a review. We do understand that Lawrence is a city that gives a lot. And when I say it gives a lot, we have things here that you will not find in any other city, and I won't mention the city, but we do have them here. But I will mention some of the stuff that we have here that other cities don't have. We have a court system, a court house in here that we arrest people, we take them to the court, they get released right on our doorstep. We have pre-release programs on our city. We are the city that has over 350 nonprofit organizations supplying services to different people in the community. We also have, as you might know, a methadone clinic right around the corner. Guess what? People are gonna come in by the buses every morning. They're gonna come to the methadone clinic. So I'll give you my experience as a law enforcement official, as someone that has done a lot of undercover operations, someone who was a member of the tactical team, warrant apprehension team, and all those specialized units. In Lawrence, I arrested back in 3 months, I arrested over 300 people in the city of Lawrence. And if I tell you, probably 65% of them were homeless. And I wasn't targeting homeless. But what happens? You get homeless people coming in from other cities. They gotta go get their substance at the methadone clinic. From there, I have witness. Go through the alleyway, they go pick up that empty cup off the garbage can. They go get the refill. They come out, they'll drink it as their breakfast. Where do you think it's gonna go from there? To that light, and it's gonna beg for that water. Right? At the end of the day, no place to go. Jump back in the bus with that water, now the buses are free. Next day, we're gonna do it all over again. I'll give you another scenario. We get someone from New Hampshire, Fitchburg, Boston, anywhere. They all say Lawrence is a drug city, right? Drug source city. So now you get 4 or 5 people jumping into a vehicle to come to Lawrence to buy drugs. Our police department is doing an outstanding job at stopping people for criminal behavior. They're identifying criminal behavior and they're stopping them. Happen to be they just purchased drugs, it's 4 to a car, we arrest 4 people, we put them through the system, okay? Now mind it, when we stopped them, we took their cars, we took their money, or they already bought drugs, they have no money. We arrest them, they don't have the $40 to get out. We keep them overnight, they go to the court kicks them out into our doorsteps in Lawrence. Now, they have no vehicle to get back to their city, they have no money to get back to their city, and they become residents of Lawrence, being homeless. So when I tell you that homeless is a very complex problem, it is. And what we need to understand too is that homeless individuals also have rights. And not because you see them on the sidewalk begging for money is an arrestable offense. You can't do that. Now if I post and it says trespassing, lieutenant shows up and say, hey, what's your name? What are you doing here? You live here? No, man. Because he can either talk to me or not. It's his right. If he's lucky enough that we can identify that name and we can generate what we have a database, we are lucky. Then we declare him a trespasser. And guess what happens after that? Now if Jay goes tomorrow and finds him on those steps or trespassing, now it's an arrestable offense. So it's a very complex problem. If we get a homeless person, unfortunately, and it has whatever disease, and it's on ourselves, we have to call someone to decontaminate those cells. If we get someone that's sick and is homeless, remember the number I gave you earlier. Now we have probably 6 officers for a shift. Out of those 6 officers, we're lucky, right? If we're lucky, we get 6 officers for a shift. Okay? If I get an incident, whatever incident there is, if it's a major incident, it's 6 hours to type a report. So now I have you typing a report 6 hours, you typing a report in 6 hours, you typing a report in 6 hours. Now I arrested someone that is sick from substance abuse, mental health issues, or whatever. Now I have to send one of my officers to the hospital for 8 or 16 hours. So when I tell you it's a very touchy subject, but like I said, homeless got rights. What we need to do, to answer your question, we all got to get together and we got to be smart about it. For every problem, we should have 2 or 3 solutions, but this guy right here can do it by himself. We got 350 plus non-profit organizations providing services to the community. We should all sit on the same table and discuss what's the problem is. We should be thinking a little bit what kind of services we are gonna provide out there and partner with our community leaders in neighboring communities to participate and carry a little bit of the problem that we have on our city. Isn't that would be a great idea? And that's my answer to you. Thank you. We're gonna have a question.
I have one for him too.
Darius?
But you have a very successful program for domestic violence victims. And I heard the other day that you're also servicing people from Methuen?
No, I'll give you the story because the story is always good. That's a good one too. This is what happened. I'm coming off the shift and I'm a high bye person. So when in my way saying bye, we had an individual that came, a lady that walked into the police station that took 3 kids that got kicked out of the house, had a fight with the boyfriend. I don't know why the lady drove into the Lawrence Police Department, but she did. And instead of sending her to the Methuen Police Department, we decided to assist her on our police department. But what we did was I called the chief of police from Methuen, and I had him send a unit to our department. Methuen doesn't have domestic, if they do, I don't know, domestic violence services. We do. So we have a person on our department who is the domestic violence coordinator, and anything that has to do with domestic violence, which last year was 400 plus domestic violence cases in Lawrence, and it's only like 5 open on a follow-up. So what we did with that case, we brought the officer to a room along with this lady, and we found out that she was a victim of domestic violence. And together with Methuen, we got them into a hotel, and we provided those services. But I haven't seen us like reaching out to Methuen. Good?
That was good.
That goes another question over there.
Thank you, Lalia.
How many tickets you guys give to citizens in Malawi a year?
A year?
I got those numbers too. I wish I would have brought them. But I tell you, there's a lot of them.
I would say hundreds. It might be as high as 300 to 400.
Did you guys provide it the first time when you guys go, or you guys give them a chance?
No, so again, we kind of give our officers discretion, again, because what's allowed, again, what's allowed to you might not be allowed to this person. What's the time of day, right? So the city of Lawrence doesn't use noise meters. We use a thing that if the music or the loud noise penetrates the boundary of your house onto your property, then it's a violation of the noise ordinance. So it gives a lot of discretion. But again, our goal is not to give somebody a ticket, it's to rectify the problem. So again, to answer your question, if it's outrageous, if it's 4 o'clock in the morning, they may get a ticket. If it's, not so loud, the officer might have discretion and give the person a warning and go back a second time.
Somebody that has gone twice.
One of the-
And the officer goes in and said, break it down. So in that sense, the next door neighbor, she's afraid of calling, so she's like, for what?
What I am doing, we are monitoring the times that we are going into these places. And we're creating a plan for enforcement in these places. If we're responding and to a noise call on a weekend, every weekend, they're gonna hear about us. And it's gonna be a point where it gets exhausted to the, and think about it, we have,
You just issue the first time and
Yeah, so again, the other thing I would say to you and I say to everybody, we have a thing called disorder.com. And when you send an email to disorder.com, it goes to the chief and it goes to every person on the command staff. okay? So instead of picking up the phone and calling, if you send that, we're all gonna see it. And again, like the chief said, we start to make notice. If it's 153 May, and we've been there 3 or 4 times, he's gonna get on the phone, or the captain of the shift is gonna get on the phone and say, hey, we've been over there 3 or 4 times? Yeah. What's the outcome of that? Why isn't there a ticket issued? Okay? So again, yes, it works. I understand it's frustrating to people, but I would encourage you or that person to continue to call. And again, if they run into a circumstance like that, call the regular line, 794-5900, and ask to talk to a supervisor.
Yeah,
All the calls are recorded.
Have them do that.
Yes.
And we have a community liaison too. Like we are monitoring this because it's been an ongoing problem.
Yeah.
And we have it's on cars, it's on private property. So different tactics, different scenarios.
But if it would be 1, 3 o'clock in the morning,
Mhm.
oh, you know, the issue of ticket, this person is just gonna.
No, 3 o'clock in the morning, I think that's a little
They
too
come back
much.
in and they put it louder now because they're upset that somebody called.
Again, if you want to talk offline, we can talk offline.
We have another question over here.
Yes,
So I know you guys are short of staff
yes.
and below your numbers, but do we have somebody that just does citations?
We have we call it CPOP. We have a traffic control unit.
Do they give tickets? Because I feel like what's becoming a big problem, a safety issue, is that there's so many cars in the city that mass laws require 20 feet from an intersection. And I feel like any intersection that you come to in Lawrence now, they're parked up to the very end of the street on all sides, so you actually have to be outside in the middle of the street to see if a car's to below.
And we are doing the tickets, especially since it's an issue with the fire department. Our emergency vehicles, the large, like the fire department, EMS, the ambulance, can't take those corners, and we had ticketing. We just told, well, the snow removal was 310. The first snow removal day that we told a lot of cars, the next day was, I don't know, like 300, another 320. We're busy.
Yeah, because I even see the buses, they can't get by each other on the streets,
And
you can't turn.
I think it has to come down to a lot of, it's like the advertisement. You gotta advertise this stuff. Listen and tell people, don't, and it's sad that we have to do this because, they have this line in there, don't park to the corner, don't park beyond the sign, and it's just a total disrespect in that regard.
Well, the only time you need a sign is if it's less than the 20 feet.
Less than the
Because it's a
20.
mass law for 20 feet. If you're gonna do something less, then the sign goes up to say, you can't park from here to the corner,
But there's a lot, remember what I told you at the beginning, we bring, and I include myself, I come from Puerto Rico back in 1980, and I visit, I am privileged to visit the Dominican Republic, my first time there, and it wasn't until then that I understood why we have so many motorcycles here and how that the culture has a lot to do with that problem. And the problem is that we don't have those things on our country. We park wherever we want, we double park wherever we want, we cross wherever we want, so bring some of those problems here. So I think if we take it and start educating and, sometimes it's better to tell, to ask, than to be given tickets all the time. And it's because it becomes another problem.
but if nothing changes and you don't get anywhere, you know what I mean?
It's like a homeless problem.
I have a question
Yes.
regarding to that. I understand that you're saying that, we come from another culture, we come from, and we need to educate them. But at the same time, we need to enforce them.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just education. If you don't enforce it, they don't know what they're doing wrong.
We have traffic control attending those issues, but remember, if we don't have those specialized units like traffic control, we have the meter, people doing tickets, it becomes a problem to our line staff. If we have 6 officers on a shift, taking care of our domestic, taking care of bank robbery, we can't do that ticket. So it becomes remember, the city of Lawrence has grown to numbers that we were not expecting. We have people living on apartments, 3, 4, 5 families. We are so caring, and I include myself, we are so caring, we bring people, hey, come on, let's move on. Let's move to my apartment. We have people, the fire department chief can attest to that. We have people living on alleyway, in the attic, on the basements. Every household has how many motor vehicles? Now, I drive, my wife drives, my son drives, my daughter drives. So we got, think about it, just for one apartment, we have 4 vehicles, and we don't even have 4 parking in the outside. So our population is growing, and our department is not staying on standards with that.
Right.
And we have to change that. It's not the citizens' problem, but I need you to understand that it's not that the police department, we cannot take it ourselves out of this. It's like we cannot arrest our way out of homelessness on this community. So, like I said, we have to educate people. Hey, listen, don't park on those corners, and why? And I'll put this very simple to you. If I have a fire truck responding to a fire, that I have people hanging on the windows, it could be your mother, it could be your father, it could be your daughter, and the truck didn't get there because of the nonsense of parking on the corners. That's what we have to start telling people.
So on that note, we have time for one more.
Yes, I have a question for the chief, the fire chief.
Fire Chief Brian.
Hey, come on up, join the club.
There weren't any questions because my presentation was so informative.
There was, I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
You answered every question they had. We're on for 15 minutes.
Yeah, 20.
You presented pictures of all the stations in the city.
Yes, I did.
But I didn't see the Glen Street station.
It's not us.
I was wondering what
Hasn't
the
been
story
a
is.
station since the 80s. No, we don't even own it.
We don't own it.
We don't.
Okay, that's my
I-
question. Thank you.
We own 6 stations and 1 Bardwell Street fire alarm, which is no fire truck.
But people don't know that because they
No,
still hear people
but we
asking.
put it on there.
I only have a few, so I don't know if
Not us.
I hear people asking, when are they going to open that station? We need it open.
Well, we need a pump in South Broadway, but we need another truck.
All right, I'll make sure
I
people know it.
don't disagree. I'd like to see it open, but we don't even own it.
I can.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming. Oh,
Yeah, the last one.
okay, the last one, yeah.
The hot seat down.
We have a lot of problems with our light and the intersection. Right now, Broadway.
Traffic lights?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of them are old, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and you think it's time to change those old lights?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, because they don't work.
100%. Give me the money. That's all it comes down to. One intersection to be done over and upgraded, $1 million plus. Ask the lieutenant, he's on the same committee I'm on.
The next street, the lights,
My guys are taking old broken ones and saving parts and piecing them together, keep them running, the old rotary dials. But to redo an intersection, it has to go through the state, goes through a big study. I'm serious, without a word of a lie, over $1 million to do one.
we get our money.
All right.
Good luck.
One more round of applause for the chief.
Thank you.
Thank you all very much for coming.